Howdy everybody, Glenn here, and today I've got a few more Funko Pops to review for you. A few pickups from this past couple of weeks. I'm going to go over Travis Bickle. This is the Taxi Driver Pop figure. The Gomorian Guard. This is the Vault edition of the Gomorian Guard from Star Wars. The black and white Superman this is the Hot Topic exclusive from their Black Friday mystery pop collection. And Zombie Ed from Shaun of the Dead. This is the Fugitive Toys exclusive that we got in the most recent F-Box from December. Alright, let's look at these bad boys up close and personal. Alright, we've got Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. This is from the Pop Movies line, number 220. And you can see the side of the box. It's got a scene from the movie in the back. And then Robert De Niro on the back there. No other figures, obviously, in this particular set. Now, this figure is representing later on when he is completely insane. And he shaves his head and he's got that mohawk thing going on there. As far as the design, I like the design. I like the faded hair there, representing that he shaved his head. Sunglasses look really good. I like that they've got the different patches and logos from his uniform coat there. And I always like figures that have weapons. Not because I'm a big fan of weapons, just because I think they add a sense of motion and a sense of, they just add a sense of the character doing something when they have a device or a weapon or something in their hand. I like that a lot better than just your standalone figures that are just standing there. This one, gives an idea of motion, gives an idea of actually doing something. As far as the paint's pretty perfect. I don't see anything wrong here except a little red chunk right here. I'm not sure what that is. I'll go ahead and tell myself that those are little cuts from his shaving his head, which it might very well be. I mean, I don't think they'd be getting that detailed on the back of the head. I'm thinking that's just a chunk taken out of the paint, but I can pretend because there's another little one over here. There's basically a couple of little cut-looking scratches. Other than that, everything is good. No bleeding. I like the detail of the undershirt there with the little collars underneath. It stands well. It looks good. There's actual eyes behind the sunglasses as well. And if you look, you can see that these are kind of plasticky, but they're transparent. So you can see his eyes on the other side there. So that's kind of a cool effect. So that's about it. Good looking pop. This is Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver, number 220 from Pop Movies. Okay, the Gomorian Guard from Return of the Jedi. This is Star Wars number 12. Now this isn't that rare of a pop. It's pretty common, and especially in the black vaulted or out of the vault edition. It's not the original Gomorian Guard, but I like this pop so much just because it looks super cool and very detailed. I think I've said before that fantasy pops or things with swords and axes and armor, they always come out really, really good because they need a lot of detail in order to really work. So you see him holding an axe in his hand. I love the mouth with the fangs protruding from the lower jaw and the horns coming out of the head. This one sits well on the stand. He doesn't come right off like some of the other pops do, particularly the Darth Vader. So going around, you see the detail on even things like his wrist cuffs there and his shoulder guards. The back's a little bit more plain than the front, but as far as the paint job and the mold goes, it looks really good. Our main test is the top of the head. No flaws. Everything looks awesome. No bleeding, really, of paint. They did a really good job on this one. It can be kind of hard sometimes when you have silver tones along with the green and yellow. So usually you see some bleeding, but this one actually looks really good. So that's Gomorian Guard number 12, Star Wars. All right, here we're looking at a Hot Topic exclusive Superman. This is Superman number 7, so it's a variant of the regular Superman from the DC Heroes line. And this is the black and white or monochrome version that was one of the pops you could get in Hot Topics Black Friday mystery pop, where the box had an outer box, you didn't know what it was, and then you could get one of a few variations of pops, and Superman was one of them. Now, going into it, I'm not a big fan of black and white variants of pop figures, and the reason is because, number one, I think it's kind of lazy. The laziest thing you could do is make a black and white version of a colored pop. Okay, number two, to me, if you're going to do a black and white pop figure, it needs to make sense. For instance, black and white versions of Universal Monsters. That makes sense. Those are black and white movies, right? So black and white versions of those make sense. A black and white of comic book characters really doesn't make sense to me. Like, for instance, there's one of the rarer pops in this line was the black and white Harley. Now, while I want all the Harley pops for sure, black and white doesn't really fit it for me. It doesn't fit that theme. Now, that being said, black and white Superman kind of makes sense for me because a lot of Superman's history on television is in black and white. So the original Superman, George Reeves series is in black and white. So looking at this, I can kind of picture, okay, this kind of makes sense because of old television. Even Batman, in a way, would make sense. Those old Batman serials of the 30s, not a lot of people watched them, but he does have a history in black and white, and so does Superman. So that kind of makes sense to me, but I still think that making black and white variants, it has to make sense for me, and a lot of them don't. I think it's kind of the lazy way out. So, that being said, let's look at the pop figure. It's also got a black and white box, and then it's got the color versions on the back. This box has a little bit of a glitch there. I think that happened after I took it out of the box, so that's probably my fault. But as I'm out of box collector anyway, and I'm not looking to really sell this, not that big of a deal. Okay, so the pop itself. It's the same mold as the regular Superman pop figure, which you'll see on the back here, right about there. Same mold and everything, so that's fine. A couple of little glitches. If you look off his belt, there's a paint glitch there. It's actually a big, thick piece of plastic that looks like in the mold, it's not even paint. It looks like just an extra piece kind of melted or ran down, and it's kind of all over the belt. So that's not thrilling to me because it's very obvious, very noticeable. Major flaw there. Other than that, paint is looking pretty good. We judge the top of the head, right? You see the top of the head doesn't look that great either. Got a couple of paint marks here and a couple of those wet-looking spots that will appear on a lot of Pop's heads, especially ones that are black or dark colored on the top of the head. So that doesn't look that great. Back of the head looks pretty good. There's a little bit of bleeding. You see it going from the hairline down into the back of his neck. So that's not great. So, the paint job on here, not the worst I've seen, but also definitely has some big-time flaws, especially this extra plastic down here that looks like it's all melty. But everything else looks okay. The cape looks good. And, just looking at it straight on, it's not a bad pop except for that flaw that's very noticeable. So, not my favorite pop. It's going to go up on the shelf. It's not bad. There were definitely a couple of choices that I would have rather had in this collection, but it's not too shabby. So that's it for Superman number 7. black and white variant from Hot Topic. Okay, here we've got Zombie Ed from Shaun of the Dead. This is a Fugitive Toys exclusive, as you can see there. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is how cool is it that the box is kind of customized as well. You see the bloody handprints on the side, blood splatter on the front. It's just a really cool box. Now, on the back of the box, it has the Zombie Ed there, but it also shows the regular Shaun and Ed there as well. This pop actually came in the F box for this month that Fugitive Toys brought back for the month. So everybody got one of these, which means it's not going to be quite as difficult to find out there as it would be otherwise, because they put it in the F boxes, depending on how many F boxes went out. But most of my friends online, at least, got the F box, so there's quite a few of them out there. All right, let's talk about the pop. The pop, if you look at the back of the box, very different. I mean, it's not even just a recolor. It's completely different looking pop than the regular. Obviously, he's zombified there with the eyes. He's got blood all over him from where he's been eating people, and blood splatter. There's also a bloody Ed that's not zombied, that just has blood splatter on him, and that is a Entertainment Earth exclusive. He's got his shovel. Really, you only see this character at the very end of the movie, but nonetheless, it's very cool. I like that there's a couple of decent touches on here that you can see. For number one, his tennies, his shoes are dirty, scuffed up. Not only do they have blood on them, but they're not pristine. So as you would expect them to look. So I like those little touches they do, like making things dirty. I noted a while ago some of the Walking Dead pops. One of the great things they do with some of the Daryls, especially, is to make them dingy and dirty and not so clean and pristine. Head looks pretty good. I like this hairstyle, and the color looks good as well. There's a couple of little imperfections on the back, couple of little paint scrapes that attach to the top of his head. So not perfect, but not terrible, nothing game-breaking, because as a whole, the pop just looks really neat. All right, so there we have it. Shaun of the Dead's Ed zombie version, Fugitive Toys exclusive, number 259 from the Pop Movies. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed my up-close and personal look at just a few pop figures that I hauled in over the past few weeks. We're going to be doing some more of these Funko Pop hauls in the near future. Until then, check out our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram feeds as always. And until next time, we will see you later. Bye-bye.